玉鷲モンゴル出身高尾部屋最後は関脇御嶽海
There's the face of our leader for the middle Sunday. Is it too early to say? Japan expects. The matchday mask hiding wrestler personality tends to peel off in the seconds after a bout. That's veteran sumo journalist Kunihiro Sugiyama's view, and ever since reading it, I've tried to capture those faces for you. Anything that may add to your sumo picture. Perhaps the most animated wrestler post-bout is Akua. How would sumo's most prominent daredevil react to the thrills and spills of this one? Oh, sumo gods, please let his foot have crossed the rope, was likely the prayer ignored. Chiyomaru favoured by the judges. It was not so much my movement, but the fact I stayed in under the kosh, reflected Maru. And I was careful not to touch his top knot in the grapple. So often does Akua lose it mid-bout, you wonder what he'd be like without adrenaline rushes. More boring for sure, but perhaps abler to win like this. There's no knocking Takara Fuji's composure as he coolly takes the Battle of Kindai University. At the end, I was so feverishly going for it that I can't remember what happened, said Takara. Let's just say I don't want to be defending up there. The average mental strength of these warriors appears more extraordinary when you try to break it down. Ichi Yamamoto, after a hard morning's training and 20 hard years of sumo study, still faces horrors like this. And what a man he must be to process that, then recover while getting pounded by Shohozan in practice. There was nothing good about my display. I need to attack from down low, but gave him the jump on me, is how Ichi starts his cycle of reflect and rebuild. For Victor Oho, the task, to which he seems equal, is not to assume he's already strong enough. It's not about the winning, I just want to fight well, was his measured response. With sumo-grade mental strength comes fine humility. Here, Chiyonokuni looks to have suffered more. And yet his instinct is to check that Onosho is okay. Within that gesture is the thankful handshake for efforts made not to hurt him at the end, and recognition that his own stubbornness gave his foe no choice. My good point was that I watched him carefully when executing moves. He was waiting for me to invite him forwards, Onosho said. Here also were ferocity and generosity on show. As this touching gesture helps show, the mutual respect between two sumo wrestlers is stronger than any other form I've witnessed, transcending all faces and characters. In short, yet more marked than Tamawashi's chest. I aimed to carry the fight, but his power was something else, was how Hokuto paid tribute. He's just unshakable. Upper body so strong. You learn tons from fighting him, and amazing is all you can say. Perhaps like you, I've paid more attention to our leader's face before rather than after recent bouts. And NHK notes a more business-like demeanour too. Here Mitakeumi is then, going for a straight 8 for the first time since his maiden title triumph of July 2018. And the straight 8 Mitake got, with a 5th successive win over a man who was thrashing him a year ago. Another good fight. I hung in there well, said Mitake, adding, I'm moving around great, mentally I feel great, it's just the best place to be. You do get the sense it is his time. But calm yourselves slightly. Lose tomorrow, and he'll be no better off than at this stage in November. Shodai, as you know, has spent recent days as despair personified. The result, he says, of not moving to plan and half-hearted initial charges. He today earned a sigh of relief, though, with a much-needed win over Endor. Not great I pulled him in, he began, but I reacted well to that. And from now, I want to attack more from the off. Finally, in her contribution to this book, Mrs. Terunofuji claims that the man on the dohyo is not the husband she knows, because his face changes completely. His expressions may be modified further next week, as not since last spring has he played title catch-up. Can Teru hold it together? That's not a question relevant to a mismatch. NHK pundit Kitanofuji, famously strict on his student's student, Okinomi, said, You have to feel for Oki, who's totally lost that tachiai. I think Teru's being nice to him. No one wants to see an old man bullied. With Mitakeumi yet to come, Teru himself still feels joint favourite. We'll be there earlier tomorrow, hopefully with energetic face. More sumo variety coming your way.